My dear friends, permit me to share with you today 7 simple truths about life, not because I have mastered them, but because they have mastered me. In a world buzzing with noise and distractions, it is often the quiet voice of eternal truth that we forget to hear. So lend me your minds, but more importantly, lend me your hearts. You did not create your life. You did not knit together your soul in the secret places, nor did you author the day of your birth. You awoke one day to find yourself breathing, thinking, walking, a miracle wrapped in skin, and yet so many live as though they invented themselves. But life, dear friend, is not yours in the way a man owns a tool or a house. It is something deeper. It is entrusted to you. It is loaned by the Creator with the silent hope that you will do something beautiful with it. We often speak today of my body, my truth, my life, as though the clay has authority over the potter. But the heart that truly sees knows this. The heartbeat within you is not a machine, it is a melody, and the composer is not you. This is why pride is the most dangerous illusion. The man who believes he owns his life will inevitably misuse it. He will clutch it, waste it, or sell it for a cheaper price. But the one who understands that life is sacred gift lives with reverence. Every moment becomes a chance to say thank you, not just with lips, but with living. And what is the proper response to a gift? Gratitude, stewardship, wonder, humility. You do not waste a gift. You do not trample on it. You do not abuse it or throw it away when things go wrong. You cherish it. You rise with it. You protect it, not only in yourself, but in others. This is why the value of life is not determined by its usefulness, or by whether it is planned, or wanted, or convenient. Life is valuable because God willed it. Because He loved it into being. So remember, you do not have to earn your worth. You already have it. Because you are alive, you are not an accident. You are not a product of randomness. You are the result of a divine decision, chosen before the stars learned to shine. Life is not a right to be demanded. It is a mystery to be received. Handle it not with entitlement, but with awe. For the day will come, sooner than you expect, when the giver of that life will ask, "What did you do with the gift I gave you?" May you be ready to answer, not with fear, but with joy. There is a war that rages in every human heart, war more ancient than any fought on earth, and more decisive than any battle waged with weapons. It is not fought in public squares, nor recorded in the history books, but it is real, and it is relentless. It is the battle between who we are and who we are called to become. Every man, every woman, regardless of background or belief, carries within them 2 opposing forces: the desire for goodness and the pull towards selfishness. The soul is a battlefield where virtue and vice struggle for dominion. One moment we are capable of sacrificial love, and the next we are prisoners of pride. We are drawn toward light, yet we often hide in the shadows. This struggle is not a flaw in the design. It is part of our dignity. For only beings with free will can choose love over hate, courage over cowardice, holiness over mediocrity. The animals act by instinct, the machines by programming. But you, made in the image of God, must choose your direction every day, and that choice is never neutral. You may conquer the world, build empires, amass fortunes, but if you lose the inner war, you have gained nothing. Conversely, even if the world forgets you, mocks you, or casts you aside, if you have won the battle within, if you have tamed your pride, silenced your envy, forgiven your enemies, you have achieved a greater victory than any medal could symbolize. It is in the silence of conscience that this war is waged. Every time you resist temptation, every time you speak the truth when it costs you, every time you forgive when you've been wounded, you have pushed back against the enemy within. Do not wait for applause. Heaven sees what the world ignores. The modern world tells us to follow our feelings, to obey our impulses, to do what feels right. But feelings are not maps, they are waves. They rise, they fall, they change. To live by emotion is to be tossed like a ship without a rudder. The greatest strength is not in expressing every desire, it is in mastering them. The strongest man is not the one who conquers nations, but the one who conquers himself. Do not be discouraged by the presence of struggle. It means your soul is alive. Saints were not those who had no battles. They were those who fought them honestly and persevered. Some battles you will lose, but what matters is that you rise again. Victory is not perfection. It is faithfulness. And remember, you do not fight alone. Grace is real. God does not stand far off as a spectator to your struggle. He enters the battlefield with you, strengthens your will, lights your path, and lifts you when you fall. You need only call upon him. In the end, the true measure of a life is not in what you built or what you owned, but in what you conquered within. That is the victory that echoes in eternity. There is no life untouched by pain. It is an inevitable companion, an uninvited guest that enters with no warning and stays far longer than we ever wish. The truth of pain is that it comes in many forms: physical, emotional, spiritual, and it seems to have a way of finding us at the most inopportune moments. In the face of suffering, many ask, "Why me?" They search for answers, for reasons, for comfort. And in their desperation, they sometimes mistake pain itself as the enemy. But let me tell you this, my friends, pain is not your true enemy. The real enemy is not the suffering you experience, but the meaninglessness you feel in it. It is the despair that convinces you that there is no purpose to your pain, that your tears are useless, that your suffering is in vain. Pain in itself is not destructive. It is what we choose to do with pain, how we choose to respond to it, that determines its power over us. Consider for a moment the human body. When we experience pain, whether it's a cut, a bruise, or a deeper wound, it is a signal, a sign that something is wrong, that something needs attention. Without that pain, we would not know when we are in danger, when we need healing. Pain, in its essence, is a warning, a messenger. It is only when pain loses its meaning, when it is not understood or channeled, that it begins to erode the soul. The same is true of emotional and spiritual pain. The loss of a loved one, the betrayal of a friend, the failure of a dream, all of these wounds strike deep within us. Yet, the great tragedy is not in the pain itself, but in the sense of emptiness it can bring. Pain without meaning can turn us inward, make us bitter, make us believe that we are abandoned, forsaken, or forgotten. And in that moment, we can begin to think that life itself is pointless. But my dear friends, this is where the truth shines through. Pain, when understood in the light of a greater purpose, can become a force of transformation. The cross itself, the greatest pain ever endured, was not meaningless. It was the doorway to salvation, to hope, to eternal life. Jesus, in his infinite love, took upon himself the greatest suffering known to humanity, not because he was weak, but because he saw the meaning that could emerge from it. He understood that pain can be redemptive when it is united with love, when it is offered for something greater than oneself. You too can find meaning in your pain. When you suffer, do not ask only, "Why me?" but ask, "What can this suffering bring forth? What can you learn? What can you give to others through it?" Can you, like Christ, take your wounds and turn them into something that draws you closer to God and to others? Pain without meaning is merely suffering. Pain with meaning becomes a pathway to growth, to grace, to a deeper connection with the divine. And this is the beauty of the human spirit. We have the ability to choose. We can choose how we perceive our pain. Do we allow it to crush us under its weight? Or do we allow it to purify us, to strengthen us, to transform us into the people we were always meant to be? Do we allow it to bring forth compassion, wisdom, and resilience? Do we open our hearts to others who suffer, knowing that we have walked the same road, and offer them the comfort of shared experience? The enemy, my friends, is not pain. The enemy is the belief that pain is pointless. The enemy is the lie that suffering is a sign of abandonment. The enemy is the belief that life itself is without meaning. But the truth is this: your pain is a part of your journey. It is shaping you, molding you, teaching you to look beyond the moment of suffering and see the light that lies at the end of the tunnel. And as you walk through the valley of pain, remember, you are never walking alone. The one who walked before you in suffering, who bore the weight of the world's pain, is always beside you. In the deepest moments of your anguish, he is there, offering you the strength to endure, the courage to hope, and the grace to find meaning in the midst of it all. So, my dear friends, do not fear pain. Embrace it, understand it, and let it lead you to greater love, greater wisdom, and greater purpose. For in the end, it is not pain that defeats us. It is the absence of meaning. And as long as you live in the light of that meaning, you will never be overcome. There are moments in life when the weight of the world presses down so heavily on your shoulders that it feels as though you are walking a solitary path. The voices of others may be distant, and the warmth of companionship may seem but a faint memory. The ache of loneliness can creep into the heart, whispering lies that you are abandoned, forgotten, and utterly alone. It's in those moments, when the night feels darkest and the days seem endless, that we are most tempted to believe the lie that no one cares, that no one understands, and that we are isolated in our suffering. But hear this truth, my friends: you are never alone. Not in the deepest pit of despair, nor in the most isolated moment of your life. The lie of loneliness is a deceitful one, designed to pull you away from the very reality of what surrounds you. For the truth is far more beautiful, more profound, and more life-giving. God is with you, and you are surrounded by His presence at every moment. You are never forsaken, never abandoned, and never beyond the reach of His love. The world may fail you, friends may disappoint you, relationships may break, but God's presence is constant, unwavering, and everlasting. When everything else falls apart, His arms remain open. He will never leave you to walk alone. He walks with you, even when you cannot feel Him, even when you cannot see Him. The very fact that you breathe, that you live, that you move, these are proof that His sustaining power is with you every step of the way. You may not always feel His presence in the way you expect. He may not appear as a visible figure standing beside you, but His presence is there nonetheless, woven into the fabric of your life. Sometimes, God comes to us in the quiet moments, in the stillness of our hearts. Sometimes He speaks in the soft breeze of the morning, in the warmth of a friend's smile, in the deep peace that arises after a storm has passed. His presence is not limited to grand miracles. It is found in the everyday moments of grace. It is a comfort, a deep assurance to know that you do not face this life alone. You are held, you are loved. The God who formed the universe, who breathed life into the first man and woman, is also the God who watches over you, intimately, personally, and eternally. He knows your every sorrow, your every joy, your every tear, and your every triumph. And through it all, He stands with you, sometimes silently, but always near. And it's not just God's presence that surrounds you. It is the presence of those He has placed in your life, those who may be closer than you realize. There are those who love you, those who pray for you, those who walk with you in your struggles, even if they don't have all the answers. Sometimes we don't recognize the depth of the love and support that exists around us because we are too focused on our own struggles. But take a moment to look around. You are surrounded by those who care. You are never without a community, even if it feels that way in the moment. But even if all earthly connections seem distant, remember this: you have an eternal companion in Christ. The very Son of God, who walked this earth and knew human suffering intimately, stands beside you in every trial. He was abandoned by his friends, rejected by his own people, and yet he endured all for love. He knows the weight of loneliness, the burden of feeling forsaken, but he endured. He chose to go through the deepest pain so that you could know that there is no darkness too deep for his light to shine through. You are never in a place too far, too forgotten, for him to find you. In the moments when you feel that no one understands, know that he understands. He knows the silent cries of your heart. He knows the ache of your soul. He knows your suffering, and he is with you in it. His promise to you is not that you will never face hardship, but that you will never face it alone. I am with you always, even to the end of the age. He promises, and those words are not empty, they are truth. When you feel abandoned, reach out, seek his presence. You may not see him immediately, but he is there, waiting for you to lean into him, to trust him, to invite him into your heart. There is no distance he will not cross to be with you. There is no pain he will not endure by your side. There is no loneliness too deep for his love to fill. And so, my dear friends, in the quiet hours of your deepest sorrow, in the moments when you feel the most alone, remember this: you are not alone. You are never alone. Christ, the Creator of the universe, walks with you. He is with you in every breath you take, in every step you make, in every tear you shed. Let this truth be your comfort, your strength, and your peace. God is with you. Always, and when you feel that you can no longer walk, he will carry you. We live in a world that constantly measures success by external achievements: wealth, fame, power, status. The advertisements, the social media feeds, the popular culture, they all push the notion that success is about how much you have, how high you climb, and how many accolades you collect along the way. This message is ingrained in our minds from an early age, and we often find ourselves chasing after these worldly markers of success, believing that happiness and fulfillment lie in their attainment. But the truth is far more profound and far more beautiful than this. The goal of life is not success by the world's standards. It is sainthood. It is holiness. It is becoming who God created you to be, which is far more glorious than anything this world can offer. You see, success is fleeting. The wealth you accumulate will eventually decay, the fame you seek will fade, and the power you wield will eventually slip from your hands. These things are temporal. They are transient. They are like the flowers of the field that bloom for a moment, only to wither and die. They may bring pleasure, but that pleasure is short-lived, and it cannot fill the deepest longings of the human soul. But sainthood, holiness, is eternal. It is the only true success. It is the completion of the work that God began in you from the moment he created you. To be a saint is to live in perfect union with God, to love as he loves, to forgive as he forgives, to serve as he serves. A saint is one who has surrendered their life fully to the will of God, who has been molded by grace into a reflection of God's own holiness. This is the success that truly matters, because it is the only success that lasts forever. The path to sainthood is not an easy one. It does not promise wealth, power, or ease. It often leads through suffering, sacrifice, and the crucible of self-denial. But it is a path of true freedom, because it is a path of love. A saint is free from the need for worldly approval. free from the chains of pride, envy, and selfishness. They are free to love others with the pure love of God, without expectation, without conditions, without seeking to gain anything in return. Their success is not measured by what they receive, but by what they give, by the love they pour out, the service they offer, the forgiveness they extend, and the joy they bring to the world. In the eyes of the world, saints may appear as failures. They may not have amassed wealth, or achieved fame, or gained recognition for their deeds. They may have been poor, humble, and unknown in the eyes of the world. Yet in the eyes of God, they are the true winners. They have achieved what no amount of worldly success can accomplish. They have become the person God always intended them to be, and that, my friends, is the greatest success of all. We must remember, too, that sainthood is not a state reserved for a select few. It is a call to every one of us. It is the universal vocation of all Christians, to become holy, to become saints. We may not be called to extraordinary deeds or to the kind of greatness that the world admires, but we are called to become holy in the ordinary. Holiness is found in the small, everyday acts of love and service. It is found in the quiet moments of prayer, in the offering of our daily work to God, in the sacrifices we make for others, in the forgiveness we extend to those who hurt us, in the love we show to the poor and the marginalized. Sainthood is not about being perfect. It is about being faithful. It is about choosing God in every moment, even when it is hard, even when it costs us. It is about growing in virtue, patience, kindness, humility, compassion, generosity, and learning to live as Christ lived. Sainthood is not about being recognized or applauded. It is about being faithful in the little things, in the hidden moments of life, when no one else is watching. It is about living for God, not for the world's praise. So, my dear friends, do not be deceived by the world's definitions of success. Do not measure your life by what you have achieved or what you possess. Measure your life by how much you love, how much you serve, how much you forgive, and how much you grow in holiness. The goal of life is not to accumulate wealth or recognition, but to become a saint, to become a person who reflects the love of God in all that they do. And remember, sainthood is not a distant ideal, something only for a few extraordinary individuals. It is the calling of each and every one of us, here and now. God is calling you to holiness, to sanctity, to a life that reflects His love and truth. The true goal of life is not success, it is sainthood. May we all strive for this higher calling, knowing that in the end it is not the applause of the world that matters, but the smile of God, the eternal crown that He has promised to those who love Him. And so, dear friends, remember life is a gift. Fight the inner battle, embrace suffering with meaning, know you are never alone, aim for holiness, not applause, choose eternal things over temporary glitter, and above all, never forget who made you and who you are called to become. May your life not just be long, but luminous.